Hey guys, this is Jess. So this is my Bible study with me video. This week we're not going to be going through a whole week because I'm starting May 1st, Proverbs-a-day. I'm just going to take you through what I learn each day and what stood out to me. And yeah, I hope you get something out of it. I hope you learned something. If not, I hope you were entertained. But anyways, let's get to the video. Alright, so I just got done reading the first Proverbs. The main two verses that stuck out to me was, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline." One thing that you'll notice is throughout Proverbs, it talks about the fear of the Lord a lot. And so that's something that we're gonna continuously talk about and kind of just figure out what it is. Verse 8, where it says, "Listen, my son, to your father's instructions and do not reject your mother's teaching." It kind of reflects what I'm going to be talking about in my Friday video for quarantine with family. Our parents are there for our own good. I have a devotion goes along with Proverbs 1 and 2. As a kid, I would sit next to my mom in church. As I observed the peaceful look on my mom's face every week during worship, I formed my first understanding of what it looked like to love the Lord. I was relieved to learn that the sort of fear we're called to have towards God is a holy reverence, a position of awe, wonder, and worship before the Lord. Wrestling with God's magnificence stirs up a holy fear in my heart because He is more powerful and wild than I truly can understand. But that peaceful look on my mother's face wasn't because she was older and smarter than me. It came from knowing and fearing, revering as holy, the one who holds all wisdom. It came from knowing Jesus. The true and timeless wisdom we long for will never come from a formula we create, but only from the one who created us. I just wanted to read that to you, and yeah, we'll get to the next chapter. Today is May 2nd, verse 5, "And then you will understand the fear of the Lord and discover the knowledge of God." I kind of read a commentary on this passage. What the author is trying to get at is, if you want wisdom, you must fear the Lord. I just wanted to take away from this passage is I want to start seeing what it looks like to actually have fear of God. The rest of the chapter kind of just goes over how wisdom is a gift from God. So if you're fearing God, He gives you the gift of wisdom. And it's not just something that comes naturally. It comes from studying the Word. It comes from praying and just constantly seeking God. So since the fear of God gives you the knowledge of God and it gives you wisdom, you have an eternal perspective of life. And so all these things that are evil, all these things that are tempting, that seem fun in the moment, you look at it with a point of wisdom and you see that is not worth it for my eternity. I'll get back to you tomorrow with Proverbs 3. Today I feel like I prepared a lot better than the last two videos. The flow of Proverbs is just so beautiful, but beyond that, it just has so much to learn. Solomon wasn't talking about his teachings. He wanted to make it personal, like God is talking to his son. Do not forget my teachings. This is what God's telling you. Don't forget my teachings. Let your heart keep my commandments. And so I just wanted to start out by saying that it's not Solomon's teachings that we're talking about, it's God's teachings. So that makes it a little bit more personal to you, also more important. Proverbs 3, 5 through 6 is probably one of the most popular, you've heard this. Even if you're not a Christian, even if you didn't grow up in church, you've heard this. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him and He will make your path straight." Oh, this is on pretty much every single graduation card. I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about it. We don't completely understand it because it's kind of like John 3:16. It's just you hear it so much that you're like, yeah, trust in the Lord and he'll direct my path. What does this truly mean, and like how can you do this? I read enduringword.com. A lot of commentaries that you can find online, and it's so helpful if you want to do a word study. Bible Hub or Blue Letter Bible, they work so good. I found a quote, and it's from Bridges, and it says, "This kind of trust is a childlike, unwavering confidence in our Father's well-proven wisdom, faithfulness, and love." This kind of trust is not the kind of trust you're thinking of. It's the trust that, like it says, childlike, unwavering confidence. We need to have this confidence in God that, like, no matter what happens, he's got us. An example would be, my dad built a tree house when I was little, and I would climb up this tree house, probably, I'd say it was like at least 20 feet high, and I'd climb it, up it, run up it, like slide down the railing. I would not be scared whatsoever. I literally was just thinking about how much fun it was to have that tree house. Later, like a few years ago, I went and tried to like climb up it. I was so terrified. I was like, how did I used to climb up this no problem and not even terrified? It's kind of the kind of trust that most people would be like, that's stupid. You trust God that much? Like, you trust that God will take care of your finances? You're getting called to go this place, but you have no money whatsoever. You trust God that much? As you grow up and as you become an adult, we tend to just get that fear. And we learn from experience, and we realize. But there's also the kind of childlike behavior that Jesus talks about in the Bible, where he says, you know, unless you become like one of these children, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. So you have to realize, like, there's a point where childlike behavior and like childlike trust is the kind of trust that we need to have in God to be able to grow and be able to follow God completely. It says, do not rely on your own understanding. And by that, I think it really speaks to those who like to take control of things. It really shows right there we need to have dependence on God. And we can't be dependent on our own understanding, but also we can't be dependent on other people's understanding. Like, it's only God's understanding that we could be dependent upon because he is in control. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. This says, in all your ways acknowledge him. No matter what you're doing, no matter what part of your day, whether it's getting ready, whether it's hanging out with friends, right now you can't really do that, whether it's watching Netflix or going on social media, you need to acknowledge him. You need to bring him into every day of your life. You need to include him in everything you do. Do not despise the Lord's instruction, my son, and do not loathe his discipline. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves, just as a father disciplines the son whom he delights. Why does God allow these things to happen? One time I was sitting in a sermon, and the pastor said, a good judge cannot ignore the wrong. And I just wanted to continue on that. A good judge cannot ignore the wrong. A good parent cannot spare discipline. A good instructor cannot ignore mistakes. So why would you expect a good God to spare you discipline and to ignore mistakes and ignore the wrong? God's good. He's just. And if he is a good and just God, he's going to allow there to be discipline because he loves you too much to not give you discipline. He loves you too much to not let you learn from your mistakes and learn from your sins and realize why they are wrong. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. You will lie down and your sleep will be pleasant. Don't fear sudden danger or the ruin of the wicked when it comes, for the Lord will be your confidence. The Lord will be your confidence. How great would it be if the Lord is your confidence? I wrote down, wisdom frees us from fear. So the last thing that I just wanted to end it with is I wanted to reread Proverbs 3, 5 through 6, because this time is really hard. It's hard to realize that God's in control and that He can take charge of this quarantine, this virus. So trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Today is May 4th. May the 4th be with you if you guys follow up on Star Wars. I've definitely heard this a lot, especially talking about relationships. And it says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. So I think like this is more than just guarding your heart from heartbreak. Wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And if you think about it, if you're putting your treasures in things of this world, that's gonna determine the course of your life. All of your life is just gonna be this world. Like, there's no beyond that. If you put your treasures up in heaven, you are guarding your heart in a way that this passage is calling us to guard our heart from the things of this world, guard our heart from the people of this world, and give it all to God. So this is the Proverbs-a-day on May 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Have you ever noticed like May has so many like different random holidays, like May Day, then May the 4th be with you, Cinco de Mayo. Kind of hard to apply this as a woman to my life because it is specifically talking to a man and saying to avoid the kind of women that are tempting, seductive, like at that time forbidden. And then it later talks about, like, it says, drink water from your own cistern, water flowing from your own well. Like an example would be, don't give into adultery, don't, and this time it would be, don't give into pornography, don't watch pornography and stuff. For me personally, this is more of something not to be. The forbidden woman that it describes is a woman that leads someone astray from God. And I don't want to be a tempting woman. I want to wear modest clothes. I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is not leading any man astray or causing any man to stumble. Thank you guys for watching this Proverbs a day. This is my last one for this week. Tomorrow I'll start the next one and go, and yeah, bye.